But I love Taiwan so much, and I wanted to spend more time kind of getting to know Taiwan and just, having a really good experience.
And at the same time, getting a lot of money for charity as well.
Yeah.
You said 300,000?
Yeah, in the end, just under 300,000. And thanks to all of your viewers, because when the guys came on your channel, our donations jumped by nearly 100,000 NT more. So we increased the donations by about 50% after the video.
Today's guest is actually someone we have talked about previously on this channel, but I think we just have to take it all from the beginning. Who are you and what brought you to Taiwan?
My name's Pete. I've been living here in Taiwan for about 6 years now. Been living in Asia for 15, Thailand before here. Moved here for a job, originally to lead a company in the education industry. The company grew and grew and grew, and we eventually sold that company about a year and a half ago. For the last 6 months or so, just been exploring Taiwan and kind of enjoying life a little bit more.
Wow. Speaking about exploring Taiwan and enjoying life, where might we have heard about you previously on this channel?
So back in December, 3 of us rode ubikes from Baishuan in the very north of Taiwan to Kending in the very south. And we did it for a couple of great charities, Brightside and Garden of Hope, and raised almost 300,000 Taiwan dollars in that process. So you met with my fellow riders back a couple of months ago, I guess it was, and they were featured here on the channel.
What was the reason for why you were not attending that interview?
Well, I was in Kaohsiung that day. I was exploring a very strange hobby that I have, which is trying to find manhole covers around Taiwan that are unique and full of history and color and that kind of stuff.
When they showed me the Instagram account, when we were recording the previous episode, I was like, is my English this bad? Or does manhole cover have a completely different meaning that I'm not aware of?
It's a shame Pete wasn't here. He told me that he had spent the last hour searching for a unique manhole cover in Kaohsiung.
Yeah, I had the same phase when you told me. I was like,
that's what he was doing this morning. That's why he's not here. He was searching.
No,
how? First of all, credit to Taiwan for having some of the most amazing and most beautiful manhole covers I've ever seen. But I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. So I didn't know it was a thing either. I was just wandering the streets in Taipei one day and looking down at my feet for some reason and came across this really beautiful looking manhole cover and thought, wow, that's weird. And then a couple of days later, there was another one, a completely different design. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. And I guess I'm the kind of person who then goes online and tries to figure out what's going on. And I discovered that actually Taipei, Tainan, Taichung, a lot of different cities, and Kaohsiung, where I was the day when you were recording, have these special manhole covers that I guess they have to attract tourists and tell a story about the local community. So I decided why not set up an Instagram account for this.
That's amazing. If you do want to see, I guess not a complete list, this is very much still ongoing.
Yeah.
But if you want to see all of Pete's manhole covers from Taiwan, you of course have a link down in the description. And if you are a fellow, what do you call yourself? Manhole. And if you're a fellow geek, you can of course reach out to Pete and you can compare lists or whatever you do in the manhole cover community here in Taiwan.
One of the interesting things about it is that I actually get people who contact me from other countries who want to come to Taiwan because of the manhole covers here. So it's like an international really big thing in Japan. Yeah, some countries have it. I guess some countries don't. Japan, it's massive. And I guess that's why I kept this account going, because so many people, not just from Taiwan, but from other countries, were fascinated by this. I had no idea when I set this account up, by the way.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Really, that's been my motivation in keeping it going.
I have to say, because we have one here, like Liuchang, the MRT station, as I was passing it, every time I pass it, I think about you. And then I'm like, it is actually pretty beautiful, but it's just such a nice, I don't know, splash of color in a normally gray Monday maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And they all tell a story too, which is really cool.
Exactly, yeah.
So I've learned a lot of history about Taiwan. It's motivated me to travel to places I never would have before. I went to a place called Lugang, which is on the coast in Changhua County. And just really randomly, they've got this beautiful manhole cover. So off I went to go see it and told the whole story. So if on each of these posts, I tell some of the history of what that manhole cover is telling or what that town's about or whatever. I never would have gone there otherwise, but got to this really beautiful place. And you know, Lugang used to be the second most populous city in all of Taiwan.
Yeah, it's based on like how, at least in my opinion, small it is now. I always get shocked because like everyone has like a story about like Lugang, and it's like Lugang is like it was the place to be like back in the days.
Back in like the 1700s, yeah.
Yes. And speaking about the place to be, other than of course my beautiful Swedish home, is of course the sponsor of today's video, FunDay, which is also my absolute favorite English learning platform. Not only can you attend real classes with real teachers and real classmates, it's also super flexible with classes almost the entire day from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. Taiwan time. But another reason for why I love FunDay is that while I'm here in Sweden, I can let my mom improve her English as well, since FunDay is offering tons of different classes in almost every single difficulty level, from super in-depth discussion classes about recent topics to more general and more basic everyday chatting. And for those of you who are just in the beginning of your English learning journey and will be more comfortable having classes in Mandarin, rest assured that FunDay of course also have classes for you as well.
星期天早上他要洗衣服吗？
Is he washing clothes on Sunday morning?
Very good. 对，我们把时间改成未来就好。Is he washing clothes on Sunday morning?
And as you can tell, since it's only 4 to 5 classmates per class, you're always expected and encouraged to interact with both your classmates and your teacher. And the teacher will also provide you direct feedback in the class, as well as grade you after the class, so you know what you should focus on more next time. But right now, the only thing you need to focus on is to click the link down in the description to get even more information about FunDay, but also to sign up for 2 free classes, so you can try it out for yourself and see how fun learning English with FunDay actually is. And speaking about something fun, it is now time to head back to my Taiwan studio and continue with the rest of this video. It kind of sounded like that whole like crazy ubike ride, it was basically like 100% your idea and they just had to follow along. That was kind of like the impression I got like between the lines.
Well, I mean, we're good friends. Jenny and Anthony actually didn't know each other. Oh yeah, still.
Okay.
They didn't actually know each other before. And it was, my brother was visiting from Canada. Yeah, we're just sitting down having a chat and thinking about, wow, these U-bikes are really fantastic. My brother was saying, he lives in Ottawa in Canada, oh, I wish we had this. Because of course in Taiwan, you know, you can get off the train in Taipei, in Tainan, in Taichung, Kaohsiung, wherever you might be, and just tap your card and you get your bike and now it's free. You know, that kind of system doesn't really exist in other countries. And I love this idea that you really don't need a car in Taiwan, at least if you're in one of the cities, and you can just use one card wherever you go. So my original idea was, what's a good way to try and show this to people in other countries, to show them the great stuff that Taiwan's got, you know, that the leadership that Taiwan has in some of this urban design, such as ride sharing. 6,000 U-bike stations across Taiwan, all the way from Baishuan in the very north to Kending in the very south. Hey, this is a great way to show off that kind of compatibility. Now, the guys at U-bike didn't think so.
You reached out to U-bike and they were like, we don't really recommend it.
They were basically saying, we're not telling you not to do it, but this isn't really what U-bikes are for. And they're right. I mean, no one should be riding a U-bike from the north to the south of Taiwan. Honestly, like the whole way I was just praying for a 4th gear because they're so slow when you're on these long straight rides, right? But they are great bikes, and I think what we showed is that they are very versatile. You know, I've ridden a U-bike up to the top of Yangmingshan, up to the top of Datun. It's possible, you can do it. There's a guy who's ridden up to the top of Wuling Pass, you know, at over 3,000 meters. These bikes can do it, but of course that's not what they're designed for. You know, and what we were trying to show off is the interconnectedness, I guess, of the transport system in Taiwan.
And at the same time, getting a lot of money for charity as well. You said 300,000?
Yeah, in the end, just under 300,000. And thanks to all of your viewers, because when the guys came on your channel, our donations jumped by nearly 100,000 NT more. So we increased the donations by about 50% after the video. So honestly, thank you so much to everyone who donated.
Thank you. That's amazing.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
What was the Brightside project?
Brightside project and Garden of Hope. So Brightside working with marginalized communities, education primarily, and Garden of Hope doing much broader work on lobbying as well as just looking after children and the elderly within Taiwan. So yeah, two fantastic charities.
The official, I would say, Instagram account is ChallengeTaiwan.
Yeah.
Are there any other Taiwanese challenges coming up?
Anthony and I have been talking about doing a 200-kilometer ride around the river paths of Taipei. So another great feature of Taipei is that you don't really need to go on roads if you're on a bike or you're running or walking. You can get out of the city by skipping over.
500 kilometers on roads. What is next? Okay, 500 kilometers off-road on U-bikes.
200.
Okay.
Anyway, this time he's actually suggested that we do it on a tandem bicycle. You know, one of those bikes where you have two people riding the same bike. But I think that's just his way of not actually doing any of the pedaling
himself. And then he's going to be in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Like shouting at me and telling me to go faster.
Yes.
So
it's like, if I would join, that would be in my contract. It's like, I need to be in the back seat. What are you actually doing when you're not like on a U-bike? You're having this company and you sold it off. It sounds like you're like in your midlife crisis as we speak.
Well, I wouldn't call it a crisis. I'm quite enjoying it.
Okay.
So it wasn't my company. I moved here to be the CEO of that company, and we worked in 10 different countries. I spent a lot of time in West Africa, India, Kenya. We opened some offices as well. And that meant that I didn't really get to see as much of Taiwan as I would have really liked. So when the company sold, I probably could have moved overseas with that company. It's an Australian-based company that acquired us. But I love Taiwan so much, and I wanted to spend more time kind of getting to know Taiwan and spending time with family and just, you know, having a really good experience. Riding my bike a lot, my proper bike, not my U-bike, my road bike.
So you're saying that U-bike is not a proper bike? No.
Oh, God. U-bikes are amazing, but you don't want to ride them 200 kilometers in a day, right? That's or up a mountain, unless like once in a while maybe, but no, not regularly. I'm hoping to do a big challenge on my own at the end of this year. So each year there's an opportunity to swim across Sun Moon Lake that happens in September. And if anyone out there can help me actually get into that swim, that would be really helpful.
Oh, there's not like a website?
There is, but it's like a lottery. So what I want to be doing...
How do we rig the lottery?
How do we rig the lottery is what I'm asking. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Lukas. So what I want to do is do that swim, but then complete what I'd call the Taiwan triathlon. So then cycle all the way around Taiwan. So down to Chiayi and then all the way around back to Chiayi. And then after completing the loop on a bicycle of Taiwan, cycle up to the trailhead of Yusan, Jade Mountain, and then run up to the peak of Jade Mountain. So to complete the running portion of it to get to the highest place in Taiwan.
As in like one race?
Yeah, exactly. So do it in 8 days. I would stop and sleep on my cycle journey, but that's sort of my end of year goal. But the one limiting factor is whether or not I can get into that Sun Moon Lake swim.
Oh, wow. Even if I start today, I don't think I could finish before the end of the year.
So,
wow.
Yeah,
that's
good
crazy.
fun. But you know, we're so lucky to live in Taiwan and to have this kind of nature so much on our doorstep. You know, here in Taipei specifically, we live in a bowl surrounded by beautiful mountains, and it's so easy to get into those mountains. You want to go 3,000 meters plus hiking or cycling, you know, it's a couple of hours drive away. So I just really want to take advantage of that as much as I possibly can now.
If you just go back from like the beginning here, how much did you know about Taiwan before moving here?
So I knew very little about Taiwan. I was very lucky to have that opportunity, and we kind of flew over and had a look at Taiwan about 6 months before moving here. The reality is, I think Taiwan's, at least 6 years ago, really wasn't on the map as much, perhaps as it is today. So I didn't know a lot of people who'd been to Taiwan before. And I was living in Thailand at the time. And of course, you know, there's always the joke, Thailand, Taiwan.
Yeah. At least you knew that it's not the same place.
Well, certainly when you live in Thailand, you should probably know that Taiwan and Thailand are different. So anyway, we came over, and yeah, it was all right. It was Chinese New Year, so Taipei was very quiet.
Right.
And there was sort of Bangkok's a very vibrant place. It's very busy. Our initial feeling was like, oh, it might be a bit too quiet. And then went on a hike and went up from Jiantan, had a look over the city, and was like, oh, God, this is amazing. So basically made the decision then on the spot that this would be a great place. And what I really, really like is that people are very open, I think, to improvement, to the country constantly getting better and better. And we see that with new MRT lines opening. We see it recently with the government announcement on pedestrian safety. You know, when there's some negativity perhaps towards Taiwan, there's usually a whole process that goes into place where that can be improved. The earthquake as well. You know, back in 1999, 2,500 people died in an earthquake the same size as the one that happened a few weeks ago. this time fewer than 20. And all of them were in Taroko Gorge, which is a place that's very dear to my heart and that I rode through a couple of weeks ago just before the earthquake. Once something bad happened, action was taken, improvements were made. And I think that that's something that's really amazing about Taiwan and doesn't happen in every country around the world.
Now, after living here in Taiwan for 6 years, is there anything that you wish you would have known before coming here? Or if you have like family or friends coming visiting you from like Canada, for example, what is like the first thing that you would say, like, do this before you come, or like pack down this or something like that?
Just come. Don't prepare.
Don't prepare, don't pack. Just
one of the most beautiful things about Taiwan is that even if you get lost, someone's going to help you. And you're never really going to be in any serious danger. Like in 6 years living here, I can't think of a single time where I've been scared, where I've been nervous about my safety.
Not even like during a ubike ride down to like Pingdong.
Amazingly, no. Like if I did that ride in Canada, you'd have had at least once or twice a day some guy leaning out a window shouting at you just because he doesn't like cyclists. Taiwan, they lean out the window and shout "Jiao" at you, give you great encouragement.
If people want to like see you around Taiwan, you are gonna be on 2 wheels. It sounds like that's like your preferred...
Yeah, we're on foot. I do a lot of running too. So I'm often trail running up in the mountains, often in Yangmingshan.
Okay. Does this bother you now that you have to like sit still for like 45 minutes just to finish this interview?
No. Terrible at swimming though. So if I do go on that Sun Moon Lake thing, I'm going to be one of the last guys out of the water.
You might want to start practicing before that too.
I think I need to.
Will that also be a charity event, by the way? Or is that something that you just do for yourself?
If I'm able to put it together, yeah, it'll definitely be a charity event, and I'll make sure that I let you know about it so you can post on your Instagram and your social media.
Yes,
yeah, definitely.
And hopefully someone of you might be able to help out then, seeing how can we get one of those spots. Yeah. I honestly have no idea how it works, but I would say that for a charity event, hopefully you could be like at least more prioritized in this list.
It would be nice if that was the case. At the same time, I don't want to kind of put myself above anyone else. I mean, there's people who've been waiting years and years and years to do this. So,
oh, really? Is
yeah,
it like
so
that? Okay.
I don't want to push too hard, but yeah, if it was possible.
Yeah, you do. So again, if you do want some more information regarding manhole covers of Taiwan, it doesn't make any sense, but maybe I guess because like you're out like all the time running or walking and stuff, like you need that, like your brain, it just needs something to focus on to like keep you going, I guess.
It's honestly now it's an excuse just to explore new places, to go to completely off the beaten track spots that for some reason have an interesting looking manhole cover in them. It started off honestly as a joke. Like the main reason was like, this is kind of funny. I'll do a manhole covers Instagram account. But because people got into it, I started to find it more interesting too. And it's kind of nice that it has like a limitless, I don't know how many of these things are out there. So I'll just keep trying to find
I was just going to ask, like, how, like, do you literally just like walk down the street and you see one? Or like, how would you know that there is one in Kaohsiung, for example?
So there's a couple of hashtags in Chinese for other people who, I guess it's manhole cover in Chinese for the hashtag.
You don't even know. You're just like, if I just follow these two characters, I end up here.
Pretty much. So yeah, I mean, occasionally you just stumble on them and see them. Or I've got friends, because everyone knows that I do this.
You have friends? It doesn't sound like you have
crazy,
friends.
crazy, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, everyone I know sort of knows that I do this. So if they find something interesting, they'll send it over to me.
And if you also want to do the same, you of course have the links down in the description. Yeah. So either if you want to join on this manhole cover journey, or maybe also sign up for a Taiwanese triathlon, swimming Sun Moon Lake, biking around the island, and then hiking Yushan.
Try and run it, yeah.
Running Yushan.
Yeah, at least to the last little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. Starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one.